Shut up and sit down.
Oh, hello and welcome to an Northwell side-by-side video. What I'm not going to say in this video is, I told you so too many times. Many months ago, I made a video and I said petrol, diesel and hybrid cars would be rationed. And that video didn't do very well at all, because I think I was a little bit early in putting the video out, because nobody believed me when I said, because of the government's EV mandates and manufacturers being forced to make electric cars and sell a percentage of their electric cars every year, and that percentage going up, that they would get to a point where, because they weren't selling electric cars, they would have to restrict the supply, petrol, diesel and hybrids, to artificially push up the percentages on the electric cars, which is what's happening. And the only reason why they're doing it is because the British government threatened the car manufacturers with a £15,000 fine per vehicle that they sold on petrol, diesel and hybrids over EVs. So manufacturers went, well, we're just going to have to stop selling petrol, diesel and electric, and hybrid, I should say. I told you that was going to happen. I told you so. Then about 4 months ago, just after our Labour government got into power, I said that the British car industry was doomed. And I made a mistake in that video, and I'm going to own up to it now. This was 4 months ago, remember, in July, and I said Stellantis, the parent company of Vauxhall, would close Luton and Ellesmere Port. I was a little bit wrong on that prediction. In fact, I was 50% wrong on that prediction. They're keeping Ellesmere Port, but they've closed Luton. So, I'll admit I was wrong on that prediction, but I was 50% right. So, we lose a car plant, that's one. A couple of years ago we lost Honda in Swindon. I think Honda knew what was going to happen, and I think they just decided enough's enough, get out of Britain before it all goes tits up, and they stopped production. So that was 2 car plants gone, and now we've had a German manufacturer of components, I can't pronounce the company name, Schleifer or somebody like that. I'll put it in the video, I'll put their name, and they've got a base in Sheffield, and they're closing their UK base. So that's another pile of jobs gone out of the motor industry. That's 3 big motor related companies that are closing down. So that's lots and lots of jobs. And now on the back of it all, we've got Nissan, who are based up in Sunderland in the United Kingdom, and Nissan are in dire straits. Nissan are saying they've got 12 to 15 months to turn Nissan around, otherwise Nissan is gone. And Nissan is suffering because their parent company Renault are also in dire straits, because they fell for what all the other car manufacturers fell for, and that was they listened to governments and they built electric cars. They invested millions and millions, in fact probably billions, in developing these cars, building factories to build these cars, and then the sales never came. So they're all beginning to try and backtrack on their electric investment. Ford are doing the same. Ford they haven't even got a decent petrol diesel powered car on the market, with all the problems with their EcoBoost engines and their EcoBlue diesel engines. We're back to the wet timing belts. So Ford are struggling. And then you've got the VAG group, Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda, Seat, Porsche, Lamborghini. They're all under the same group, VAG. Volkswagen have closed factories in Germany. They've closed a factory in Belgium that builds electric cars. They've put too much money into EVs and nobody was buying them. The EV mandate has affected the European car industry like nothing on earth. It has decimated the car industry. But there are manufacturers that have survived, will survive, and are doing extremely well. And these manufacturers are all Japanese. Subaru are doing amazingly well. Suzuki are doing amazingly well. Honda are doing amazingly well. And Toyota, well, we won't talk about Toyota because Toyota are the world's biggest selling car brand. Why is that? Because Toyota are Toyota, and Toyota do everything their own way. Yes, they do build electric cars, but they haven't gone into it wholeheartedly, because Toyota have said right from the beginning EVs are not the future, and Toyotas have carried on their own way. Hybrid is what they've been building, and they've been building hybrids for over 25 years. Everybody laughed at them when they bought the Prius out back in the late 90s. Now then, Toyota have got the upper hand now, and they're the ones laughing at all the car manufacturers that fell for the bullshit that's been coming out of the puppet masters that are running the governments. The World I shouldn't really name them, should I really? We're looking at Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, we're looking at the World Economic Forum, we're looking at the European governments. They're all being led by puppet masters, and it's the puppet masters that are telling the governments what to do, and then the governments are telling the car manufacturers what they can build, but the buying public are not buying what the car manufacturers are building because they don't want them. The car manufacturers that have survived this mess up that has been pushed upon them, the EV mandate, they're the ones who are going to survive this mess. They're the ones who have got the money now to develop alternative energy sources, whether they go synthetic fuels, whether they go hydrogen. I don't know what they're going to do, I don't know what the answer is, but it's not EV. EV is not the answer. It just doesn't work. They're just not fit for purpose, and it's costing people their jobs now. Yeah, and the government don't care, because the agenda is get us all out of our cars. They don't want us travelling about. That's the be all and end of it. They do not want us in cars. But for those of us that haven't fallen for it, that's still got petrol cars, diesels, we're driving hybrids, we're being penalised with the vehicle excise duty changes that they keep implementing. They keep pushing our VED up. They keep pushing fuel duties up. They're just making it harder and harder to own a vehicle. And now they've even taken all the incentives away from the electric cars. Every incentive they had to get you into an electric car, they were just dangling a carrot. They gave you free road tax, you've lost that. They gave you free access to congestion zones, you've lost that. They gave you free access to low emission zones, you've just lost that. So all these incentives, they've gone. You're in the same boat now if you drive an EV as we are driving internal combustion engine cars. We've just come around in a big circle. They did it years and years ago with diesel. They said diesel was the answer, diesel was better for the environment, and now they've spun it onto the electric cars. They're better for the environment. They're not. They're totally not any better for the environment than a petrol car is, a diesel car is, or a hybrid. Every vehicle has got an emissions footprint. It doesn't matter what you drive. But net zero is a money-making exercise for the elites, and that's all it boils down to. They just want to make money off the back of you and me. That is it. But net zero's not working. It's killing the motor industry in the United Kingdom. And again, 4 months ago, I told you so. Sorry, but I made all these predictions. And these predictions were made from assumptions that I'd made because I could see how the motor industry was going. Nobody had said to me, this was going to happen, that was going to happen. I worked it out for myself a long time ago, what would eventually happen, which is why I said what I said in the videos. What I'm basically trying to tell you is, I'm not a sheep. Bah, bah, bah. I'm not one of them. I think everything through. I weigh up the odds. I go, right, they've done that in the past. They're going to do that in the future. So I'm going to take that path. And as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to motor vehicles, I personally think at this moment in time, I made the right decision in buying a hybrid. Personal choice, I had the choice what I could buy, and I think that's where the motor industry has gone wrong. You've lost that personal choice and you were forced to buy something you didn't want. The motor industry needs to be led by the buying public. You should be allowed to buy anything you want. If you want to buy an EV, don't get me wrong, they might suit some people, but they don't suit everybody. But don't penalise the people that they don't suit. Let us buy anything we like. We buy the car that we want to buy, that we can afford to buy, and suits our lifestyle, and that's how it should be. And you and me should dictate what a motor manufacturer makes by choosing what we want to buy. So that's where we stand today. A motor industry that is absolutely destroyed. Absolutely and utterly destroyed. There's a couple of big brands we're not going to see in a few years. Unless VW can turn themselves around. The VAG group, Audi, Porsche. Unless Nissan can turn themselves around, Renault can turn themselves around, Stellantis can get a hold of what's going on. What did Stellantis say today? Oh, we're going to have another month out of building electric cars. They've already taken 2 months off, and now they're going to take another month off. So that will be 3 months where they've not built any electric cars. And that's because nobody's buying them. The motor manufacturers need to go to the governments and say, look, please, 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 for the sake of the jobs in the industry, will you stop doing what you're doing? Just stop it. Because you are putting potentially tens of thousands of people out of work. Not just the people who are making the cars, but the supply chain as well. You're just going to destroy everything. Thanks for watching. What has been a depressing North Wales side-by-side video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, but that's where I stand on the entire situation. I told you about the car rationing, and I told you the British car industry was doomed 4 months ago, and it's getting worse and worse, week on, week on. What's going to happen next week? What's going to happen the week after? Who's going to close a factory after Christmas? We don't know. We're just going to have to watch the whole industry crumble and disappear in front of our eyes. Thanks for watching.